Hi, I'm Dr. Renee, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Proven, a conversation with successful and seasoned entrepreneurs about their highs and lows and how they've had to go from just starting to finding that place of success. This is not just another podcast, this is about a movement, about finding something that's so unique that you can learn from so that guess what? You can be proven too. Today, I am super excited. I have a young woman with me who has been in business a long time as a young woman. I would consider her to be a serial entrepreneur. So help me welcome Amber Clancy. Hi, Amber. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Dr. Renee.
Well, I am so excited to have this conversation with you. I just want you to ease in, sit back, and let's just have this conversation because I believe and know that you hold nuggets and of wisdom and insight to entrepreneurship because you didn't start out always wanting to pursue entrepreneurship. You actually pursued a corporate career
Yes.
as well. And a lot of us do that, right? So let's talk a little bit about how you got to where you are and where you found that drive and that passion. I will say this, most corporate people, I was there, I was sitting behind a desk, managing a team, working 90 hours a week, and I had something else in my heart that I wanted to fulfill. Does that resonate with you at all?
It does actually. I was just having a conversation like that with one of my close friends, and I was just letting them know it's like, being in the corporate world and having so many gifts, I'm in those positions where I'll have a moment where I just have something come to mind. It's like I want to get in that moment and go create, but I can't because I'm on someone else's
There you
time. So that's honestly what really pushed me out there to wanna get started doing my
Mhm.
own thing. And then also, I've even asked my mom before a long time ago, before I even got started thinking I was gonna be an entrepreneur. I said, "Mom, what's my gift? Like, what talent do
Wow.
I have?" And she's like, "Just pray about it." And I did, and that's when I started doing makeup. I've done
Mhm.
makeup for about 10 years. I've kinda taken a back seat on that since I started my other businesses.
Did you hear that? She started her other businesses. Okay. All right. And what would that other business be?
Also, I have a catering business that's
Okay.
Savory Soiree by Charcuterie Delight. I've always been one to want to entertain. I always loved enjoy cooking. My
Mhm.
grandmother was liked to entertain, so
Yeah.
I get that from her. And then from there, I birthed my skincare products. That's Mystique Mystique Dream and Company. So I have quite a few things under my belt.
Wow. That's really amazing because I think so many of us find ourselves often stifled behind these desk jobs, or perhaps we ended up in a place. I know in my upbringing, it was expected that you would go to college and come out and get a job. And there were five girls in my family, and I don't know that that was necessarily the best model for all of us. I think when I started selling snow cones or popsicles, we put them in a little styrofoam cup and put Kool-Aid and put the stick in it, right? When I started selling that and had great success, had my parents had the knowledge about small business, perhaps they could have redirected. So with you embracing your gifts and choosing to launch out, I commend you because a lot of people don't act up on what they feel they're capable of doing. So that journey had to be interesting. So here you are in corporate, and now you're wanting to do, I'm actually calling it nowadays, we do the 9 to 5, but then we do the 5 to 9.
Mhm.
Okay, so talk a little bit about how you actually got started, even with your makeup business. What was the thing that was the driving force behind you getting started, and how did you manage all of that?
As far as getting started with the makeup business, first of all, I started as a client. I was with Shawnee.
Hmm.
I was her client first, and I've always been into makeup. Again,
Hmm.
watching my mom. Young girls always grow up watching their mothers doing things, so
Yeah.
we use our mothers as our models.
Hmm.
Who we would want to be growing up. So I've always watched her doing her makeup. So I've always had a love
Hmm.
for it. So when Shawnee seen me doing my makeup one day, she asked me to come on her team
Oh,
as her protege, and she trained me. So
wow.
I've learned a lot under her as far as the industry
Mhm.
in makeup. Um, Now what m caused me to wanna kind of shift to
Mhm.
do something different, I realized with makeup, it is a very saturated industry.
Okay.
And so being who I am and knowing that I'm already an introvert.
Mhm.
So
Okay, oh,
I
we got an
needed
introverted
I
business
needed
owner.
a way to really allow myself to be able to stand out
Yeah.
outside of that.
Mhm.
So getting into catering is still along the lines of artistry.
Mhm.
It's with food, edible
Mm.
artistry. So I was able to use my creativity in that way,
Mhm.
and that skyrocketed.
Mhm.
Honestly, I never expected to grow as big, and most times, most of
Mhm.
us never really expect that.
Mhm.
I never thought I would even see myself in a position where I'll be so much in the forefront, again, being an introvert.
Mhm.
So this really has helped me to really come out of my own shell and to
Mhm.
really open up and allow people to really see who Amber is,
Right.
because that's also what kind of inspired my name for my skincare products,
Mhm.
Mystique, because a lot of people always tell me, "There's so much about you that I would like to know," or they wouldn't know
Oh,
how to
wow.
approach me because I don't really talk much.
Yeah.
So, Mystique dream, always I say I'm a visionary. Like
Mhm.
most of my ideas come to me in my dreams and I
Wow.
like to act on it. That's why I say working at 9 to 5 and
Mhm.
you're in that moment where you want to be creative, but you can't because you're on somebody else's time. So, now it's finally coming to fruition and I'm
Mhm.
really pushing myself out there to
Mhm.
really um, make myself known and
Wow.
make a name for myself.
What was the biggest, pivot for you with your catering business? Like, when did you realize that you were stepping into something of value that a consumer or a client would desire?
My first client that enjoyed it. When she seen it, she was like, "Oh my god, it's so pretty, I don't wanna eat it."
Oh,
So
oh,
that
wow.
that would've
So
got
that's
me
that
excited.
artistry,
Yeah,
right? Oh my god.
and that's the thing with charcuterie, it's like, it's more so I call it an adult Lunchable,
Okay, let's
but
pause there,
it's
take that in.
more
For those of us that struggle with saying the name charcuterie,
it's an adult Lunchable.
adult lunchable. I like that. I
Yes,
like that.
but it's more so about the aesthetic because it could be for any occasion,
Mhm,
birthdays, weddings,
mhm,
a girls' night, a brunch, anything. You can do it's so versatile
mhm.
with charcuterie, and the aesthetic is what really gets everyone excited about it, and they don't ever wanna eat it, just wanna take pictures.
Boy, I tell you what, you show up someplace and you have one of your divine charcuterie boards there, and everybody's like, "We can't eat right now. We have to take photo ops with the
Yes,
board, with the food." I love it. I love it. And that really inspires interest, right? People are like, "Wait a minute. Okay, let me really taste this." And then when they taste it, they find that it's more than just the beauty. So is that how some of your clients are obtained?
yes, that, like what you mentioned as far as not just the beauty, it's also the
Mhm,
combination of the taste, like, you have your savory you have your sweet together,
mhm,
so, and then also whichever your taste palette is,
mhm.
so a lot of people like to enjoy combining different things that they never thought they would put together, like honey
Okay.
and cheese or honey and certain, meats that will go with it, so those
Oh,
are
so
some of
there's
the
there's additional artistry and educating yourself on your business to know what is going to satisfy that client. I think a lot of times in business, um, especially like let's say catering, for example, like I'm a Southern cook. I cook what I like. I cook what I know works together. But it sounds like there's a science behind what you put together. What did you have to do in your business to really understand how those flavors work together?
It takes also being your own taste tester,
Okay.
studying, asking questions, joining
Mhm,
different groups to,
mhm,
know and understand from other people and
mhm,
learning, different ways of how to
mhm,
enhance your boards, to be able
mhm.
to satisfy your clients too.
Okay.
Also asking your clients questions of what their likes are. Also being mindful of, those that are vegan, making sure you have different
Mm,
options available
okay.
for them, and also how you prepare it and the
Mm,
sanitation of it too.
okay. Okay. Because I think a lot of times within that food industry, having been a restaurant owner, I know there's certain requirements of things that I would have to do within that setting. But even for what you're doing, I think a lot of times people, because I've heard people say that, you go to events like, "Oh, I can put that together," but there's more to it
It's more
than
to it.
just putting it together. You have to make certain that you have studied to show yourself worthy of being able to present this product in a way that is going to, during the event and timed space, accommodate them so that they don't have any outside issues. And people don't take that into consideration. That's why you got to have insurance in your small business. You can't just have a hobby. You got to have insurance in your business. Make certain that you're properly covered. So that's amazing.
And one thing I will share too that some
Mhm,
people don't realize when you're hosting, and we normally just have food out.
mhm,
But even with charcuterie, there is a shelf life,
mhm,
like with the meats and cheeses, you don't want to go beyond 2 hours,
mhm,
because you don't want to risk anyone getting sick. So
mhm.
yes, insurance is a must have
Right.
when you are in the catering business.
So when you initially decided you were going to shift from makeup artistry to catering artistry, what was the demand put on you to really research and to understand the industry that you were now stepping into? Because that's a big pivot. I mean, there's still regulations around both, but I think a lot of people just jump into things that look like they're fun or looking like they can utilize their creative gifts. Did you have to really put a lot of research into what you were doing and really, I guess, position yourself so that you could establish this new business in a way that you would have success?
Yes, I would say one, you're dealing with people, and this time, not just me doing makeup, but they're actually going to be consuming food. So I have to really study the health aspect of it to
Mhm,
make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to within guidelines
mhm.
of the health food industry.
Okay.
And that's doing different online classes to get certified. So I
Okay.
have my food handler's license. That is important, and
Yeah.
you wanna make sure that you're staying up to date on that because different rules and
Mhm,
regulations
mhm,
change each year, so I have to make sure that I'm doing my part by making sure that my clients are safe when they're
mhm.
choosing me to do business with.
Okay. Okay, and then, boy, I wanna stay on that adult Lunchable, but I wanna get to the 3rd business, right? Okay. So let's pivot to that 3rd business. Tell us a little bit about that.
As far as makeup, I'm sorry, the skincare products.
Mhm,
So that also kind of ties in with the catering business as well, because it's also going more the natural, holistic realm.
mhm,
Because we are what we eat, and
mhm,
also the products that we use as well,
mhm,
going on into our skin. Um, I like to make sure that we are using products that doesn't truly um, manipulate our natural skin so
mhm,
that we are staying healthy.
mhm,
And also what actually motivated me to start is with my own daughter. She
mhm,
has psoriasis.
mhm.
So making sure that she's using the right products that's not causing her to have
Okay.
different breakouts and everything like that.
Wow.
So that's how I got into starting the
Okay.
more holistic side of it and studying and making sure that I'm not using the incorrect, ingredients when I'm creating my
Mhm.
products.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So you saw a problem and you stepped up to meet a need. Um, and so where are you now in terms of that business?
I would say now I'm still in the nurturing phase of it,
Okay.
to really, still learning more,
Mhm.
but I'm in a position now where I am more comfortable with it.
Mhm.
Um, Starting to add more products on. I have, different body butters, body
Mhm.
oils, bath salts,
Okay.
and just doing a little more research on other
Mhm.
products that I would like to implement as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, and what's the name of that business?
Mystique Dreaming Company.
Mystique. Okay. Because of her mystique about her. I love it. I love it. Okay. But to meet a need for your daughter. So with what you're doing with these companies, um, marketing, branding is so vitally important. And then really separating yourself into a space to where you kind of become the premier product line or go-to vendor, right? So, what would you share with someone who feels multi-skilled, like yourself? Um, what would you share with them about making certain that they have a solid foundation as they begin to build business upon business upon business? Because I experience and see a lot of people that have a lot of things going on, but they're just not effective at it.
I would say, well, as I mentioned before, I took a back seat on my makeup business.
Hmm.
Because yes, I have three that I've birth, but you wanna stick with one and work on that first before
Mhm,
you try to start something new.
mhm.
I started Charcuterie Delight back in during the pandemic, actually, 2020,
Okay, they say more
and
businesses were birthed during the
yes.
pandemic, yeah.
Yes, because we had so much time
Mhm,
to ourselves being quarantined, um, and also with Mystique Dream, I birthed that business in 2023, so I did give myself some time
okay.
to really get acclimated
Mhm,
with the catering business, and
mm,
once I knew I was very comfortable with that, then
mhm,
I knew I wanted to try something else as well. Because
mhm.
eventually, I would love to be able to have my own day spa as well as my cafe
Okay,
attached, so
okay.
I feel both will be able to be fused together seamlessly.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, one-stop shop, I like that.
Yeah,
Girls' day out, you don't have to go anywhere else. You can have lunch, the cafe, and all the services that you so desire, and then leave with that, that
yes,
blissful look.
that
Yeah.
glee just to know you were there just to edify your natural beauty and as
Mhm.
well as, enjoying the taste of different
Wow.
meats and cheeses.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about launching a business during what most people perceived as being downtime.
Mm.
What was the motivating factor for that? Did you find that people were at home needing some way to be creative? And tell us about that experience.
Well, to be a little transparent as well, during that time, I did, come to realize that I was functioning with anxiety. So
Mm,
that was something to help give me something else to really
mhm.
calm myself.
Okay.
So that was a way for me to um, try to also understand what I was dealing with at the time.
Yeah, it was really hard during
You know,
COVID. Yeah,
because
being home. Yes.
I had so much time to really just
Hmm.
deal with myself and not realizing all
Hmm.
that time I had just been
Wow.
functioning in that. So that gave me
Hmm.
a new sense of purpose when I
Hmm.
did launch my
Hmm.
business, Charcuterie Delight, during
Okay.
that time.
That's a really good way to manage your mental stress and anxiety. Um, Those times were hard and difficult, and I think people in business often will hit hard times as well, where maybe things are not going well, and you found a way to manage that. If someone in business is dealing with anxiety now, what would be 2 things you could just tell them, regardless of what their business is, to just be able to overcome that?
First and foremost, it's okay to not be okay.
Mm,
Don't be afraid to reach out and be vulnerable. That was something I dealt with. I never allowed myself to be vulnerable and to
mhm.
open up again. I'm an introvert, so that's not the norm for us mostly. We
Mhm,
try to internalize things, and that's not always the best thing to do.
mhm,
And so when I realized that's what I was dealing with, I got help.
wow,
And it's okay to reach out for that help and
mhm,
also to make sure you have that supporting cast around you that can help encourage you and
mhm.
to be able to sense, even in your silent moments, that they know you're not okay. So just focus on you and just know that it's okay not to be okay.
Wow, that's really good wisdom. Because sometimes when you're in business, you feel very isolated, you feel very alone, and you often don't feel like you don't have a community to turn to. And it's important to have, as you stated, individuals around you that can recognize when you have those moments of lows and highs, but
Mhm.
sometimes you need that community, that village, when you experience those lows to really kind of help pull you out of where you are, and then trusting that they're going to be there not to judge you or condemn you, but to support you through that so you can make your way through it. The important thing is that we get through it. What
And
would
I
you?
just want to add to that as well. And also, even in doing business, I've
Mhm,
realized that even as an entrepreneur,
mhm.
it's a ministry as well. Because,
Yes, yes.
you meet so many people, and when people get
Mhm,
to know you and know your story, they feel inspired by what you do, and that
mhm.
inspires them to want to really tap into their own gifts as well.
Yeah. And so that faith component is so vitally important. Would you say that that's one of the key ingredients for you having success as a business owner?
It is, and I'm
Mhm,
actually having to exercise that faith muscle now.
mhm,
Um, I've gone through another turbulent time in my life,
mhm,
being transparent
mhm,
with being laid off from my
Mhm.
9 to 5. So right now I'm
Mhm.
really in a position where I'm really having to lean on my faith in
Okay.
God and knowing that,
Mhm.
my gifts that I have can really be um, that pathway for me for success
Mhm.
and leaning on that.
Yeah. So relying on your faith as an entrepreneur, and now that there's been some tracks eliminated, um, how do you find the strength and the perseverance and determination each and every day to really push through? Because that has to be hard.
It does, and again, knowing that I have a supporting cast around me, my
Mhm.
faith in God, knowing that I'm always keeping Him at the center of everything that I
Mhm.
do,
Mhm.
so I know that He's gonna guide me the right way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is my time to really just lean
Mhm.
on Him more.
Yeah. And I thought what you said is so good. A lot of times people don't look at their business as being a part of their life cycle and ministry. But knowing that you're giving to people something that's so vitally necessary for them, whatever it may be. I've seen women that walked in not feeling good about themselves go through a makeup, application and just beam with just confidence. And I'm not saying that the makeup always has to be the thing, but
Right.
just that doing something for yourself or even treating yourself to a meal. Like I'm one of those people, I used to travel all the time when I was in corporate. So I don't mind eating by myself. And so people always like, "Are you alone?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine with myself. I'm comfortable with myself." But just knowing that you can entreat people with how you cater to their entertainment needs, even if it's just something for yourself, doing
Absolutely.
something special for yourself. It doesn't always have to evolve around a whole lot of people or doing something with those significant individuals within your family, something just special that has that creativity. That's cool. I like that. I like that.
Absolutely.
That's really encouraging to hear because people are blessed by that. They really are. When they see the beauty, I can imagine sitting there and I've had her food, okay? And I've done that too. I think one time she did something for maybe my birthday and had this beautiful heart with this little hammer. And I was like, "What am I gonna do with that?" She's like, "You gotta crack it open." Well, the heart was so beautiful. It was like a puffed pink heart.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to crack it. I think it was the last thing that I enjoyed. Because I didn't want to crack that heart, but then when I cracked it, I found that there was other jewels and
Surprises.
surprises that was in there, so it made it fun,
Mhm.
and I think that was a birthday I was kinda by myself, my kids all off at school and everything, and it was so special, and so, to be able to create those special moments really is impactful, and sometimes we don't see it as such, and so, if you had to, um, especially with where you are now, and thank you for your vulnerability, is there a quit in you?
I would say no, honestly. No, there is not a quit in me. That's something that I've always loved about myself, that
Mhm.
I'm one that knows how to stay the course.
Ooh, I like that.
Um,
You hear that? Okay, wait a minute. Talk about that a minute. For that business owner, entrepreneur that right now is going over in their mind, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I think I'm done. Just come on and just share with them how you cannot operate in that quit. I like that.
the best way to do that is always find something new to learn within your business, a new way to make it more exciting. You want to basically fall in love with it all over again. So
That's
that's
good.
why I feel that I have that ability to, know to stay the course, because I know there's always more that I can do with my businesses. Like it's forever growing. So
Wow, that's good.
that's the main thing.
So let's talk about that growth real quick. I know we're kind of shifting a little bit, but you're of the younger generation. And so, what does that growth look like to you? Because it's very different sometimes, even though I always tell people we've got to learn from the new technology, the younger generation. In fact, if you're older, you probably need to have someone younger on your team that's innovative and creative because the world is happening so fast and there's a lot of technology out there. So, what has been your greatest opportunity when it comes to growing your businesses that you feel helped you to get to where you are?
I would say, being open to the changes. Like now, everything is so AI based. Also with TikTok, knowing how to capitalize on different platforms, social media platforms, to be able to get your business out there.
That requires more education. You gotta
Yes,
learn.
learning more,
Yeah, yeah.
networking,
Mhm.
also, not being afraid to be on camera because, introvert.
Yeah.
Being able to
Mhm.
advertise your product online and
Wow.
getting other people to create that buy-in from your
Okay.
audience online. So, you just gotta be able to adjust with the times.
Okay. Create that content. Don't be afraid. Push it out there. Learn about the varying social media platforms. That can be very overwhelming at
Yes, it
times.
can be,
Wow.
but you gotta think of is that you don't have to be perfect when you start. Just put it out there. You realize that you'll see the growth as you continue. So don't worry about
Look.
being perfect when you put your
Yeah.
content out there. You can just even record with your own phone. Just put it out
Yeah, you know what? It's such a challenge. It's like, just do you. Just start. Just jump out and start. And, we're worried about all of these things that we probably shouldn't be worried about. But thank you for that wisdom and that insight. Oh my God. So you're challenging me as I even sit
there.
here that I've got to be a bit more assertive and aggressive in terms of what I just put out there. Wow. So my mind is just going in terms of just, the nuggets that you're sharing, and I really appreciate that. So what would be the celebration of maybe one of your greatest successes as we get ready to wrap up? Because I think it's really important to acknowledge, when we have those successes and victories as well.
I would say one of my greatest successes is for people to see me and already know what I do. They'll, see me as like, "Oh, you do charcuterie," or
Hmm.
even with my skincare products, they love my different scents.
Hmm.
I love when I see people tag me on social media, sharing their experiences and
Okay.
just showing their love for my products.
Wow.
That really gives me joy, just
Yeah.
knowing that I was able to please them in that way.
Hmm.
So that was my greatest success in it all.
Wow. Being comfortable, even as an introvert,
Yeah.
with having others to take notice of what it is that you do and tag you. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, why are you tagging me?
Life's
But that's a
exciting.
positive, right?
It's exciting,
Mm.
because again, as an introvert, you're gonna need other people to help push you out there. So
Mhm.
just to know that they trusted me enough to um, buy into my product and
Mhm.
enjoy it and
Mhm.
want to share it, that means a lot to me.
Yeah. So what is your typical business day involve with so many businesses? And even though there's a transition right now, a lot of people are still in corporate wanting to do something. How disciplined and what did you have to do to be able to manage all of that?
I would say during that time, it was just trying to create that work-life balance, but then I realized sometimes that's not realistic in a sense. So I would say just try to find harmony and
Mhm.
just find those times that works for you to be able to
Mhm.
also not only handle your 9 to 5, but also make time
Mhm.
for your business as well. So
Mhm.
just try to create that harmony.
Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. So what's something in your routine that you really benefit from that somebody could start doing right now to be in harmony?
Taking notes. Taking notes 'cause in the beginning and start of it all, I wasn't writing down anything, and that's something I had to get better at. So, just to make sure that I'm staying on track with everything, because I can create something and forget what
Mhm.
I
Okay.
created. So, just make sure you're taking notes.
Mhm.
Again, reaching out to others, being a part of different groups
Mhm.
within that industry so that you can
Mm.
continue to learn. I always wanna continue to gain more knowledge in your fields.
Okay, great. Okay. So, what would be your final thought that you might want to share with, let's say, first group up in aspiring young entrepreneurs and business owners, and then those that are more seasoned?
For my inspiring business owners, I would say, um, take your time. Make sure you, again, are reaching out to gain all the knowledge in whatever it is that you would like to do, so that you are well versed in that particular field. And for those that are more seasoned, just understand that all failure is not failure.
Wow. Whew, that's good. And then for those that really have been in it and Maybe you're interested in making an exit, just inspire them to stay the course a little bit longer.
Yes.
Yeah. Stay in there, like, don't quit. She has no quit in her. Isn't that amazing? Wow. In other words, you know, we can do this. Yeah, we can make it. And it's tough at times being a small business owner.
And also just make sure you're always keeping God at the center of all that you do.
Oh, okay. There you have it. Right. So I thank you so much,
Thank you for having me.
Amber, for sharing your story of resilience, of sharing your story of how you get through and how you've done it. It's your own journey. And we don't want to keep our journey to ourselves. We want to share it with everybody else. But I would say today that based on what you've shared with us, that you are indeed proven. I don't anticipate that you're going anywhere anytime soon. Um, because you are of the younger generation, how do people get in contact with you?
You can contact me on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Mystique Dream. And also my website is Savory Soiree, bycd.com.
Wow. Okay, there you have it. She's got it all together. Well, I tell you what, we're so grateful that you took the time to be with us today. And I just know, just from sitting here, that we have not seen your full capability as of yet. So you keep pushing and keep striving because you have shown us that you are proven. So, hey, I hope that something that Amber said today resonated with you. I thank her for sharing from a very vulnerable place because what you have to understand is that business is going to have its ups and downs, and life is not always going to be in balance. In fact, I tell people all the time that sometimes we get stuck on that word balance because the moment that we balance the scales, it tips one way. But if we focus on the transitions of seasons of life, maybe we can get through them just a little bit better. So just transition, make the pivots, do what's necessary. If you believe that there's a dream in your heart that God has placed there, if you believe that you know you have a unique, special gifts, assortment, an array of gifts and talents, right? Exercise what you have been given. Take the time, assess where you are, believe in yourself, write the vision, make it plain so you can read it and run with it so that you can arise proven too. You're fully capable. There are gifts and abilities that are placed on the inside of you. And I know that we have yet to see what it is that you're going to bring forth. One of the series that I enjoy watching is, how things are made. Why not you? You can make it. If there's something in your belly, take the risk, take the chance, rise up, be that entrepreneur. You can do it. Guess what? You can be proven too. Until next time, get to work, be busy, and let's see what you come up with.